And the only way I could keep going was to just take some very easy strokes. And that's how I started. And I started just slipping into a very meditative swim. And wouldn't you know, I got through. Hello, and welcome to the Business of Happiness podcast, and happy 2022. Welcome to the next year of your life. Welcome to, as my son said in the car this morning, welcome to the future. Isn't that crazy to imagine? Guys, we got through 2021. Not only did we get through, but we found enormous growth and so much accomplishment and discovery. And those of you who are sitting there listening to this and saying, oh my gosh, I don't know what you're talking about, I just wanted to survive, then hang on, keep listening, because the business of happiness is your source for rediscovering how to thrive, even amidst a pandemic, even amidst being far from your relatives and loved ones. It is possible to thrive. You can thrive in 2022. I promise you. And if that sounds exciting to you, then keep listening, keep joining. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel so that you can see all the additional extras that I have on there on the Business of Happiness. And definitely ask to join the Business of Happiness private Facebook group. It's actually the Business of Happiness Hive, the Business of Happiness Hive. Sign on, ask to join, because this is where we thrive. We don't just settle. That is what I've learned in my life. I refuse to settle. I refuse to just get through the day. I refuse to honor hump day. I refuse to push through the week just to get to the weekends, to only live 2 days of my week. I refuse. I love being a business owner. I love being a mom. I love being a spiritual soul child of this universe. I love being a businesswoman and a creator. I love being in nature. I love moving my body. I love feeling healthy. I love the feeling of love around me. And I want it all. And I know that you do too. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we could create a world where we all feel the power of that? And when we ask ourselves at the end of a year and say, how was your year? You could answer emphatically, oh, I thrived this year. Not I just simply survived. Right. So today is such a great day because we're going to be talking about how to thrive with ease. How can we see ourselves through these enormous dreams of ours, create a world and a life of our wildest expectations? How can we be leaders of our businesses that are flourishing and enormous prosperity in terms of wealth, in terms of health, in terms of love, in terms of joy? How can we find all that and turn our lives around, get ready for it, with ease? I think we've been thinking so long, we've been believing for so long that we have to force and push and coerce ourselves into a better place, that nothing is worthy of enormous celebration if it didn't come with a huge punishment or a huge forcing or a huge sacrifice of some sort that needs to be painful. There's a fallacy of working hard. There's a fallacy that forcing and pushing something is the only way to find success. And will it work? Yes, it will. But at what cost? At what cost? So is it possible to have everything we want with ease? And this is where I found a superpower that I'm so excited to share with you today, because the truth is, it can be easy. I know all of the hairs on the back of your neck are standing up right now, especially if you are a high achiever as I am, especially if you have great big goals for yourself. Even if you're an athlete and you know that nothing came to you without working hard, listen, I am not denying the power of hard work. I'm just trying to let you know that there is so much more power on the other end of allowance, surrender, and letting it be easy. Notice I didn't say lazy. I didn't say inaction. I just said how much more powerful it is in business, in parenting, in love, in health, in wealth and financial prosperity when we allow it to be easy. What on earth do I mean by that? I'm excited to share it with you today. And as I was saying about the business of Happiness Hive on Facebook, on the private Facebook group, another big benefit from joining that, by the way, is in a couple months, I'm going to be holding a live webinar that all my private Facebook members are welcome to. And it's specifically about the power of curiosity. And that's actually part of what I'm implementing in today's episode is asking a question and proposing, can it be easy? Can enormous success, enormous happiness, enormous abundance be easy? And what I'm actually doing is implementing one of the rules I'm going to be talking about in the webinar about curiosity, about the power of curiosity in business, in health, in parenting, and in personal development. And when we tuck into that enormous strength of curiosity, we actually open up a whole new world to ourselves. Because as Adam Gopnik said, what drives innovation is abundance and ease, not the pressure of scarcity. And so one of the ways we can attack scarcity is with this idea of curiosity. So definitely join the private Facebook group because I know you're going to value this webinar coming up in a few months. I'm thinking at the end of February, we'll be having this webinar about the power of curiosity. But for today, we're asking ourselves the question, can it be easy? And the truth is that punishing is punishing. It isn't success. Punishing ourselves is only accomplishing punishment. That's it. You know, I had this epiphany a couple years ago in business. I was working really hard, showing up every day. And we all know that when you show up and you work hard and you push and you force, will it come to fruition? Yes, you can make almost anything happen. Does it mean there won't be sacrifices along the way? Absolutely not. And this is where my entire career of building growth, of building businesses, of building success, of building wealth, of building resources, it was all achieved. My pushing and pushing myself did work, but there was enormous cost behind it. And so one day, it was actually the end of a year when we were reflecting. It's what my business partner and I do every year. We reflect on the previous year and we lay some great new intentions for the following year. And the reflection process is valuable because it involves some celebration and also recognition of things that worked really well and things that fell short and how we could pivot a little bit and make a new plan for the new year. And I know that's what so many of you have been doing in the recent weeks and days. And if you haven't, I highly recommend it because it is enormously empowering and it helps you with great clarity of intention for the year forward. And what was so interesting, I started writing on the whiteboard what our intentions for the following year would be. And without even thinking, I put up there, let it be easy. And then I put, I lead this business with ease and effortless success. And it was so funny because my business partner gawked at it. We went through all the intentions for the year. And that one, she said, no, Tarryn, that's impossible. And a part of me really agreed with her. And I really didn't know why I put it up there. But it felt so important to me. I did. I left it up on the board. And I actually left it up for the entire year. And I kept looking up at that statement. And I thought, how can this be easy? And I was thinking of that Gopnik quote in terms of innovation and success in business when he said that what limits us is this idea of scarcity. And I thought, isn't that interesting? Because the opposite of ease is to force. And you wouldn't force if you didn't think there was some aspect of scarcity involved. Even the word ease is a fascinating word when we look at how it relates to other words in the English language. The word disease, for example, when you look it up, it's actually lack of ease. Isn't it fascinating that what we look at as diseases, as things coming at us, there's a component to it which is lack of ease, lack of comfort. So, what I had been doing was pushing myself into disease to achieve a certain accomplishment or goal or success. I was literally forcing myself into disease. Even the word release, that word, I chose it because it has the word ease in it. And I looked it up and I thought, well, what about release? Release actually comes from the Latin word relaxar, and that means stretch out or slacken. But then when you read further, you see that it's allowing ease, release. And fascinating that when we feel tight or stressed or overwhelmed, we have that feeling of kind of holding on to something too tightly. Once again, that same idea of scarcity. When something is limited, we hold on tighter. But if we could just release, return to ease, allow for something to happen, we give it more room for growth. We give it more room for flourishing, and it becomes easy. Now, I know these are all very metaphorical, but what does it mean in real life? And how can that actually work for us? Imagine you are in water. A few years ago, I ran a triathlon. There's this incredible triathlon here in Maine. It's called Try for a Cure. And in the Try for a Cure, it's a sprint triathlon. If you're at all familiar with triathlons, you know that there are different distances. And this one was a sprint. And so you swim, bike, run. And by the way, they're intended to be in that order because if it was in the opposite order, you might die. I mean, literally, if you were to swim last, you could possibly drown if you had worn yourself out in the first two legs of the race. So this is why they intentionally make it swim, bike, run, because you are less likely to die on a bicycle and then less likely to die on your own 2 feet. Anyway, here I was at the very beginning of the race. So I was swimming, which is my least capable event. I love to run. I enjoy bike riding, but I am not a very good swimmer, much to my chagrin, because that is one area I would love to be just of ease. So here I was having to just make it through this first leg of the race, and they let us go in waves according to our age. And because of the age group I fell in, I happened to be immediately after the women who were swimming, who were cancer survivors. So beautifully they do this, where they allow women who have been cancer survivors to swim in the first leg. Oh my gosh, how emotional that is. It is so incredibly emotional to watch this wave of women who have survived this terrible disease and are now competing in this incredible triathlon to raise money for further cancer research. And so it overwhelms you. It's a beautiful thing. So these women were swimming, and of course there are some women who are more adept at swimming than others, even in that group of women. And so when I started swimming, when it was my turn, I was struggling, I was flailing about, and I was very aware of other women around me, as you are in a triathlon, as you are in the water. And I realized I was almost swimming on top of some women, and I didn't know which leg they belonged to. I didn't know if they were these incredible women who had survived cancer. I thought, oh my gosh, these women have survived cancer and I am swimming on top of them, making this so much worse for them. And the more I flailed, the more I had trouble breathing. I couldn't find air. I was swallowing water. I was just beginning to drown. I was beginning to fall deeper into the water. I couldn't get control of myself. And I thought, just relax. I mean, I had to relax. I didn't have a choice. I had to breathe. And I rolled over onto my back and I just floated. That was it. I just allowed it to be easy. And I was able to regain my composure. I was able to regain my breath. I was able to regain my sanity because I was literally telling myself insane stories in my head. And I needed to just recenter myself and allow it to be easy. And the only way I could keep going was to just take some very easy strokes. And that's how I started. And I started just slipping into a very meditative swim. And wouldn't you know, I got through. I got through that first phase, and it was so miraculous getting out, running up on the beach. And the other incredible part about this race is they literally pull your wetsuit off of you for you so that you can continue to run up the hill to the next leg to the bicycle. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how incredible that felt to have someone just pull this wetsuit off of me. It was enormously gratifying. But what I realized was I made it because I allowed it to be easy. If you're listening to this podcast, chances are you didn't get into business to be miserable. The problem is that people feel that if their business gets busier, if they start becoming more successful, that happiness will eventually set in. But it can actually get worse. This is why I created the Business of Happiness Prosperity Coaching. In this one-on-one coaching, we look at how to redefine success on your terms and re-find the joy and the passion in your dream. Visit me at thebizofhappiness.com and become the happiest business owner you know. So I know you're all wondering about that intention I wrote up on the whiteboard years ago for my business, for my orthodontic practice, when I said, I lead this business effortlessly. Did that ever come true? And the fascinating thing is, it did. It did. It became easy. The more I put my intention on allowing it to be easy, the easier it became. And so I want to share with you some unique ways of how to take something that seems so difficult and how we can turn it around and allow it to be easy, how we can actually tap into that superpower of ease and allow ourselves to see our business, our personal relationships, our own personal development with ease and that enormous power that ease invites. Because ease allows us to see things creatively. Ease allows curiosity. And in that, we can feel the power that Adam Gopnik was talking about. So ask yourself, how can this be easy? I mean, that's really the most simple way to start. When something feels harsh and forced, that old masculine definition of success, of business, or of getting something that you want, you go in and force it and take it. How can we tap into the opportunity to just ask ourselves, how can this be easy? And it's as simple as that, just asking the question. Stop, picture yourself flailing about in the water, realize that it's not getting you anywhere, and say to yourself, how can this be easy? How can I roll on my back and just take a deep breath and float just for a minute so that I can slowly tuck into the next easy movement, the next easy option. So one question, once you've imagined how can this be easy, is lean on your already established superpowers. So in that example, when I was swimming, what I did was I leaned on my ability to calm myself down. I've been meditating for 11 years straight now. So I knew I could bring my heart rate down. I knew when I was gasping for breath and my heart rate was through the roof and I couldn't breathe and water was going in my mouth, I knew I could focus on my breathing. In order to do that, I needed to float on my back. So there was another superpower. I knew how to float on my back. I literally reached for the things I already knew could come with ease. Those were my two that I reached for. Tarryn, you can float. Tarryn, you can breathe. Tarryn, you can slow your heart rate down. So even in business, we can do this. What are your superpowers? How can this be easy by tucking into what you already know how to do and you already do really well? So, that for you might be I am very good at interpersonal skills. I make people around me feel really comfortable. Well, there you go. That's already leaning into ease. How can I use that superpower that comes so naturally, so effortlessly, and use it to my advantage to make the rest of this easy? A friend of mine once asked me, said, I'm having so much trouble with my health and wellness. It's ridiculous because I know so many people who are so good at it, and I just am really struggling with my health and wellness. And I stopped him and I said, oh my gosh, you just answered your own question. You said, I know so many people who are so good at health and wellness. Your superpower is connecting with people, is creating intimate relationships and strong relationships, creating these connections with people. That is where you're going to reach for your ease. You're going to look into those relationships and say, please help. You've already done the hard work. Just lean on your superpower, and your superpower will be able to help you make this easy. And it really worked for him. He just reached out to these incredible people he'd already cultivated these relationships with, and they gave him the tools and resources to become a healthier version of himself. It became easy. Another great way to do this is to attach onto habits that are already entrenched in your daily pattern. This is called habit stacking. So you find something that's really a part of your habit pattern. You can do it without even thinking, and you tack this on. So sometimes we can just do that with something as simple as brushing your teeth. And so one of the goals for you might be, I want to speak to myself with kindness. But man, for 10 years or 20 or 40 years, I've been beating myself up and berating myself. And this is really hard. I'm going to have to force it. And you realize you can't force speaking to yourself with kindness. So how can you do it with ease? Well, what you do is you can also attach it to another habit, like brushing your teeth. I mean, brushing your teeth is my favorite habit to attach things to because it's effortless at this point. You do it with ease. So attach the habit onto it. So every time you brush your teeth, you say some wonderful things to yourself. This is a tip and a trick I use for my teenagers in my practice, my orthodontic practice, who aren't used to brushing their teeth and flossing their teeth. And so one of the habits that they're in is you go to school, you drive to school in a car. So when you are in the car, keep some flossers in your center console and floss your teeth while your car is driving, while your parents are driving you to school. I know that's trickier nowadays in a bus where we're all supposed to keep our masks on, but you get the point. The point is, what habit are you already doing? And how can you attach this new goal onto that habit so that it comes with ease, so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single day? And then the more you attach that goal onto that habit, the easier it becomes. Another tip for making something easy is the one that I told you my friend did in terms of reaching out for help from his friends and his acquaintances. What are the resources you have around you? As a business owner, as a business leader, we surprisingly seem to forget this. You have a team. You have a team. And if you don't have a team, now's the perfect time to create one for you. Anytime something feels hard or forced, find a team member who can help you out. Identify a team member who does this beautifully and spectacularly and effortlessly. And if you don't have someone in your life like that, find someone. We all have people in our lives that we admire for many different reasons, who have skills and superpowers that we don't have. So who can you reach out to help you make this easy? Either delegating the task to them altogether or asking for accountability. asking someone to meet up with you so that you make sure you go running every Saturday? How can this be easy if I'm so excited to go and see my friend? Well, suddenly it becomes easy. One big obstacle to allowing the ease of it is our old entrenched beliefs. So, a very important part of making something easy is letting go of the old fallacy that it has to be hard. And this is so entrenched in us, in so many of us. As a daughter of somebody who immigrated to America from South Africa, my parents are such hard workers and they really entrenched in me that work ethic. And I value that strong work ethic of hard work and showing up every day. I do. I see the enormous benefit of it. But there is a way to make it easy as well. But first, we have to let go of that old stigma that it has to be hard. There are things I do every day that are seemingly difficult to accomplish, but man, they're so much more fun when I allow them to be easy. You'd think running a marathon is hard. I mean, that is the definition of it. That's why people do it. They want to see that they've accomplished something enormous. In the fact, there's so much joy out of overcoming something challenging. But even running a marathon can be easy. I've done it both ways. I've run marathons and half marathons, pushing and forcing and straining all the way through, and it was torture, and yes, I accomplished it. And then I had this miraculous experience of running with ease, and it was incredible what I could accomplish. Interesting, it was also here in Maine, and the Maine Children's Cancer Program, what they do is they affiliate with the Maine Marathon every year. And this is how one of their fundraisers for the Maine Children's Cancer Program. And every year I try to support them and run or form a team and run either a leg of the marathon or not. And, this year, it wasn't this past year, I think it was the year before, I had not really trained well. I didn't really get my goal of creating a team, which I usually had. Things got in the way. There were some other priorities. And so leading up to the Maine Marathon, the organizer for the Maine Children's Cancer Program, Gretchen, reached out to me again and said, "Hey, you on the team? Are you running? Are you not?" And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, Gretchen. I didn't get my act together this year. But how can I help? I want to help in any way. So let me know if there's anything I can do." Now remember, I didn't have a team. I hadn't been training. And a few days, I'm speaking 3 days, maybe 4 days before the marathon, Gretchen reached out to me and she said, "There is a team that lost a team member, and 2 of the women who are running desperately want to run this race. One of them just lost her son to childhood cancer a few months ago, and this race means everything to her. Can you please run the 9-mile leg of this race?" Now, I hadn't been running. Of course, I said yes. But I'll tell you, there was a big part of me that thought, oh my God, how am I going to do this? How am I going to run 9 miles? I haven't even been running more than 3. How am I going to just suddenly run 9 miles? And I incorporated this set point, mindset, every step of the way. How can this be easy? And what I did was I was reflecting on how much it meant to her, to my teammate who had just lost her son and was now using this race as an opportunity to just work through her emotions. And by my running 9 miles, I was giving her this opportunity to make a change in her perspective and to help her with her grieving. Oh, man, every step was easy. Every single step was effortless for me because I had a different perspective. And I thought, this is nothing. This is nothing. Running 9 miles is nothing compared to what this incredible woman is going through and the challenge that she's faced with right now. So, man, did that become easy. I just let go of the whole fallacy that this needs to be hard because really, in comparison to what she was going through, this was easy. And I have to say, when I finished that race, I mean, I cried my eyes out. I hugged her. I was so happy for her. I was so honored to be a part of her healing journey. However, there was a very big part of me that couldn't even believe I'd done it. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that I actually accomplished. I'd never done that before. You read these books where people just start running. I am not one of these people who picks up her sneakers and goes for a 50-mile run. That is not something I've ever been able to do. But on that day, I allowed it to be easy because I had a frame of reference for what hard really is. And I knew that putting one foot in front of the other in a beautiful race with people supporting me, with cheering crowds, with gorgeous fall foliage, this was going to be absolutely easy. Another big part of this is that idea of release and surrender. And release and surrender really speaks to the outcome, the expectations that we have. So on that race, if I had imagined that I would be running my best time, or I had a certain expectation of accomplishment in terms of time, I think I would have interrupted my ability to make it easy. Or if, in terms of the business model that I was trying to implement in terms of effortless leadership, if I had an expectation of what that was, then I think it would have made it more difficult again. So there's a very big part of this that involves release of the outcome, of the expected outcome. Of course, we have goals. Of course, we have intentions. Of course, we have ideas of where we're going towards. We have a direction that we're heading in, and it's so important for us to acknowledge what that goal is so that we recognize it when we reach it. However, releasing ourselves of the expectation of exactly how that has to happen. And that's where that curiosity comes in again. I'm so excited to be speaking to you about curiosity in a couple of weeks, because I think that the power in curiosity in business and in relationships is so enormous. But we can incorporate that even in this discussion about how can this be easy? And can I just release and surrender the expectations along the way and just allow it to be effortless and easy? What if we allowed our happiness to be easy? What if we allowed 2022 to be easy? What if at the end of this year you could say, wow, I thrived in 2022 and it was effortless? That would be miraculous, don't you think? And that would be the real assumption of success and of well-being, the real value of finding inner fulfillment and happiness. And it's possible. All you have to do is let go of that fallacy that it has to be hard. Happy 2022, my friends. Remember that when you feel good, you can do good. And when you feel good, that's when ease flows. That's when you feel good, when you feel like you're in the flow of things. So let's lean into that. Let's start a revolution of making it easy and effortless and joyous, and see what incredible innovations we can come up with, what incredible loving relationships we can come up with. But if we just allow ourselves to ask ourselves, how can this be easy?